Good evening and thank you for tuning in to CTV News. I'm Stuart Smith.
And I'm Nicole Parra. Let's take a look at everything going on in the world of news. There is noticeable haze and smoke in the air in northern Colorado today. Much of eastern Colorado, including Fort Collins, is under air quality health advisory because of smoke pouring into the area from fires in northwestern U.S. and Canada. The warning issued Monday by the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment is for areas below 7,000 feet and includes Denver, Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Greeley, and Boulder. Slow-moving upper-level winds continue to transport smoke and haze into the state from the many fires burning from Montana to the Pacific Northwest. According to the National Weather Service, Wellington Fire advised via Twitter to keep windows closed and outdoor activity to a minimum.
In light of President Donald Trump's decision to phase out Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, commonly referred to as DACA, a rally for solidarity with DACA students will be held in front of Senator Cory Gardner's office, located in Fort Collins across the street from the CSU campus. In an interview with the Associated Press, Trump said his administration is not after the dreamers, we are after the criminals. But Republican leaders from 10 states, led by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, threatened to sue if the president's administration did not pass DACA to Congress. DACA is an Obama-era program that functions to shield the country's nearly 800,000 undocumented immigrants that were brought to the United States as children from deportation. People who file with DACA can receive an American driver's license, a social security number, and a worker's permit. CSU is home to more than 100 DACA students. The DACA Solidarity Rally will be hosted by Alianza Fort Norco, Fort Collins for Progress, and Indivisible Norco from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. According to the event's Facebook post, around 100 people are expected to attend. The rally is located at Gardner's office because although he was not among the authors of the ultimatum, he has not publicly voiced support of DACA and has voted to rescind it in the past. However, today during a rally, Gardner publicly came out in support of the DREAM Act, Congress's version of DACA.
If you live in Fort Collins and love adventure, chances are you were at the Fortitude 10K this Labor Day weekend. Let's take a look at how the historic event played out. State's new stadium where the inaugural Fortitude 10K is taking place. The stadium opened its doors for community to gather and kick off a new tradition of celebrating Labor Day. The Fortitude 10K is a way for CSU and Fort Collins to come together to celebrate the opening of the new football stadium. The 10K welcomed walkers, joggers, and USA Pro racers. Hundreds of volunteers showed up to guide participants throughout the race.
I got up and just came and volunteered for the race and got set up and was a marshal to make sure people don't go on the field or the streets at all.
Several of the participants had ties to the Fort Collins community.
I am a CSU Ram. I had a buddy who challenged me on a golf course to run and do it, and he's a CU buff. He didn't make it today, but I did.
From start to finish, runners took pride in the relationship between CSU and Fort Collins.
Well, I think the community's always rallied together. When I went to school here, and today's just showcases that once again. There were so many people out on the course today, and the university looks great, so I think it just brings a lot more exposure to what's already a great city.
The event was a success for the city and university. Registration is already open for next year's 10K. If you're interested in participating, visit www.fortitude10k.boulderboulder.com.
Colorado State University students walk past the Hollery and the Laurie Student Center every day, but they may not know the passion, creativity, and fearlessness that went into each piece. The current exhibit is titled Unbridled, and it is a mixed media gallery created by fourth-year art major Todd Underwood. According to his artist statement, Underwood's goal for the gallery was to lose control and embrace unbridled creativity. Throughout this process, Underwood said he grew as an artist because he did not contain his creative process. "I'm really experimenting right now," Underwood said. "The Hollery is all experimental media. I used makeup, house paint, and spray paint, and I really liked the process. Last semester, I took a methods and materials class where we used experimental materials. I loved it and kept going with it. It's where I found my work going." The Hollery is the only art gallery in the LSC dedicated to solely showcasing student work. It was created after students expressed interest in showcasing their work, and its location, which is the hallway between the basement leading out to the north parking lot, was chosen because of the large amount of foot traffic in the area.
Michael Kodas has embarked on journeys across the world, from a 22,494-foot peak in Nepal to minefields in Vietnam. Over the last 2 decades, Kodas, an award-winning photographer, reporter, and author, is giving a book talk to introduce his latest nonfiction book, Megafire: The Race to Extinguish a Deadly Epidemic of Flame. In 1999, CODIS and a team of journalists received the Pulitzer Prize for breaking news coverage at the Hartford Courant. CODIS worked at the Courant as a photographer, picture editor, and writer from 1987 to 2008. CODIS's work has appeared in publications such as the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, and the Denver Post. CODIS received the USA Book News Best Nonfiction Award in October of 2008 for High Crimes, his best-selling book. CODIS also speaks across the country at schools, corporations, churches, galleries, and nonprofit organizations. CODIS gives multimedia presentations about the destinations he has traveled to as both a photographer and as a reporter. His talk is on Thursday, September 7th at 6 p.m. at Old Firehouse Books.
One staple of Fort Collins life is closing this month after more than 25 years in the city. Despite the rise of mega companies such as Amazon and Netflix, and the concurrent fall of places like Blockbuster, one independent video store in Fort Collins has managed to stay in business, until now. Shepherd first ran into problems during the construction of the West Elizabeth Underpass.
That's what started the whole thing. Everybody's struggling, but we were struggling to get through the construction anyway. Even the pre-planning stage, they started blocking streets, and we came up and I raised some money to cover the costs when they did close the place, and they closed the corner for a month. And you can't get here, and that's hugely destructive. But we raised enough money through the little campaign we ran to pay payments on some of the bills and just keep going.
But the Village Vidiot is not going out of business due to a lack of customers.
We had the new landlord. He's a new landlord. He came in and said, "Hi, I'm your new landlord. I bought the church, and I needed to buy your building to get it for the parking lot, and we'd like you to leave." And we just, no, I've got a lease. I'm raising money to stay.
At first, Shepherd tried to find a new location to put the Vidiot.
You can't just go on Mulberry. You can't just hit Harmony. You have to go somewhere where you'll come and see it, and where my existing clientele can walk or whatever. So we tried a few places that were locals. It just didn't work out. There were just a lot of reasons. But
it was during that search that he had a revelation.
It hit me. I've been here 80 hours plus every week. It's just me, and I've dragged my wife in here 80 hours a week. And really, if I'd been working 40 hours a week with a partner like we had done, I'd be upset. But now, no, I'm not upset now.
Though Shepherd has put so much time into the store over the last decades, he is not saddened to see it come to an end.
No, I'm glad I lasted that long. It's been fun. I'm happy. I'm in a good mood. Everybody comes out. I'm so sorry. No, whatever. I'm fine. Oh, it's fantastic. Most people don't last 30 years. They don't live 30 years. But it's been pretty fun.
Be sure to check them out for cheap DVDs and Blu-rays before they fully close on September 25th. I'll be sure to.
There's a peculiar pile of dirt near the Clark Building at Colorado State University. Upon a closer look, there is a sign that reads, "Pollinator Garden coming soon." The Clark Garden bed is the start of CSU's attempt to become a bee-friendly campus, spearheaded by facilities management. Fred Haberrecht, landscape architect and chair of the committee for the garden, said perennial beds are a major renovation. Haberrecht said, "We want to encourage insects that increase pollination, and we are picking specific plants to do that." Haberrecht and David Hansen directed the project, aided by Holly Miller, horticulture technician at CSU, who helped pick out plants for the renovation. Miller said the landscapes have to be redone every year because they become overgrown and they need renewal. Miller said the project arose from a coincidental intersection between a student's research and a landscape's needs for reconstruction. The reconstruction will help highlight the research that is currently happening on campus.
A state commission has begun looking at avenues to build a passenger rail service that would stretch up and down the Front Range of central Colorado. The Colorado Springs Gazette reported Sunday that the commission, which includes government representatives from Denver to Trinidad, has until December 1st to submit the legislature a plan detailing steps forward and funding options. The ultimate hope is for a commuter rail that runs from Fort Collins to Pueblo, which David Krutzinger of the State Department of the Transportation says would cost between $5 billion and $15 billion. The 13-member commission will meet for the second time this week and plans to convene at least once a month. And in Fort Collins news, the Fort Collins Police Services reported today that a bear has been reported in Fort Collins in the 300 block of Cherry Street. FCPS asks that residents leave the bear alone and they do not approach it. They say, quote, "Bears are not furry attractors," despite what the movies show.
Welcome back, Rams. I'm Kira Coles with All Things Entertainment. Let's get started. Celebrities are getting their tap shoes and slick moves ready as they gear up for the 25th season of Dancing with the Stars. 2 of the cast members have already been announced: Property Brothers star Drew Scott and former American football wide receiver Terrell Owens. Scott is partnered with last season's Mirrorball champ Emma Slater, and Owens will dance with Cheryl Burke. In reference to Owens dancing, Burke said, quote, "He's got some rhythm, but he's never danced before." Rumors continue to swirl on who the remaining contestants will be. Names include Grease Live star Jordan Fisher and former child actor Frankie Muniz. The official roster will be announced tomorrow on Good Morning America. On a serious note, Hurricane Harvey continues to cause chaos and distress throughout the southern part of Texas. Relatives of the late great Selena Quintanilla Perez are among the fatalities, according to a Facebook post made by Selena's father, Abraham. The post says, quote, "The family that drowned in Houston, Texas were related to me. Manuel Saldivar and his wife Felia and 4 of their grandkids left their flooded house to go somewhere where there was safety. When they crossed a bridge, a wave of water swept the van and pushed them into the bayou." The children's grandmother commented on the tragedy saying, quote, "We are devastated." In response to Hurricane Harvey, a multitude of stars, including George Clooney, Oprah, and Queen Bee, are staging a telethon to raise money for those affected. The telethon, called Hand in Hand, a benefit for Hurricane Harvey relief, will air on September 12th across several networks, including ABC, CBS, and NBC. Proceeds will be distributed to a variety of charities supporting the recovery efforts. Halloween isn't the only time you can dress up in your best costumes. Over the weekend, I got to see one of Fort Collins' most anticipated and creative events. Residents of the fort were dressed up in their best costumes and cycling around town in this year's annual Tour de Fat.
Fort Collins does a really good job of doing events like this to bring everybody together and make it a really fun place to live.
Hosted by the New Belgium Brewing Company, the day kicked off with an all-wheels parade throughout Old Town. The event served as a great way for community members to connect with one another.
We didn't know any of these people until this morning, and we just kind of found them along the road, and they picked us up in their group, and now it's really great.
Tour de Fat was open to anyone who wanted to participate, and some people definitely spent a lot of time and thought on their costumes.
I think my craziest one I've seen is a pterodactyl. Somebody built a pterodactyl and attached it to their bike, and it was just flying above their bike, above everybody. That was pretty sweet.
While events like these prove to be tons of fun, it is important to ensure the well-being of not only yourself, but also those around you.
If you see someone and you're concerned, just be like, "Hey, you all right?
Yeah.
You needed me to call someone?
You good, bro?"
Looking out for each other. It's a community, and I think everyone's pretty friendly, and we take care of each other.
The remainder of the day consisted of several activities and concerts, including performances by the Ex-Ambassadors and the All-American Rejects. Tour de Fat continues to elicit community engagement each year, as well as provide a platform for creativity. Tour de Fat benefited several nonprofit organizations, including the Overland Mountain Bike Club and the Ciclismo Youth Foundation.
Hello and welcome to CTV Thursday News. I'm Marlo Lundak.
And I'm Amelia Castaneda, and here are today's stories.
The start of the impeachment process for ASCSU President Josh Silva is underway, and ASCSU Senate was canceled this week so they can go over the procedure. The impeachment process was started last week when Senator Nordstrom announced a petition for impeachment on grounds of not following protocol when he negotiated a deal with the Wall Street Journal without consent of the Senate. The petition has gotten 26% of the Senate's signatures, which has surpassed the 20% required to move forward. The next step is a week-long period where Nordstrom can make changes and additions to the petition, as well as allowing other senators to add or retract signatures. We will have more on the impeachment process as it continues.
On Tuesday, the Trump administration announced the end of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, impacting the lives of 800,000 people, including 189 CSU students.
CSU students, families, and members of the Fort Collins community participated in a solitary rally held in front of Senator Cory Gardner's office in support of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, also known as DACA.
We wanted our voice to say today is that we support our documented youth. They are an expression of our dreams. They are the reason why so many of us left our homes and came to the U.S. And want a better life is because our kids deserve it. Our documented youth deserve to be here.
Opponents of DACA say this was an unconstitutional act by President Obama, and that by terminating it, it is ensuring a more effective immigration system. Others call this a violation of American values.
Promised the dreamers that they were safe and now rescinded is something that doesn't represent who we are as Americans.
At the moment, Governor Cory Gardner and Senator Michael Bennet said they will be supporting and co-sponsoring the DREAM Act.
Public support with Michael Bennet in the DREAM Act. They are both co-sponsoring it.
One dreamer has hope.
When we get through it, there's a lot of outrage, and we have a lot of support from celebrities to different allies to politicians. So I strongly believe that they're not just going to leave it at DACA ending, hopeful that something else, like maybe the DREAM Act, will be passed. I think we just have to be hopeful and strategic as to how we go about being prepared for the worst.
The Trump administration gave Congress 6 months to find a legislative solution. DACA students are hoping for the DREAM Act to be that solution.
CSU Public Safety Team sent an email to CSU students and staff with information about 2 assaults on individuals that occurred over the weekend. The assaults were reported as physical but not sexual in nature. The Public Safety Team is asking if anyone with information to please call 970-491-6425. If any students feel unsafe walking home at night, there is a program called Safe Walk that is set up by CSU PD to provide safe escorts in and around campus during the nighttime hours.
Controversy has been stirred over the presence of a noose that was hanging in the halls of Newsom dorms. Our correspondent, Elia Gorlick, has the story.
On August 19th, Elijah Thomas found a noose made of crepe paper hanging from the stairs of his Newsom Hall. Thomas is the only African-American resident on his floor, as well as a resident assistant for Newsom Hall. When asked if he saw any signs that something like this would happen, Thomas responded, "When you're the only individual of color in a given space, it's hard not to imagine stuff like this happening." Tony Frank responded publicly by saying, "The only purpose one could have is to intimidate others, to frighten them, and to divide us from standing together. That won't work at Colorado State." Thomas said that after the event, it took him and his residents a bit to feel comfortable around each other, but after a while they began to mesh, and he's now developing relationships with them. Here's what some students on campus have to say about the stunt.
I don't think that was racially motivated. I think that was just some people that were just making poor decisions, but I don't know, it definitely could have been. I don't really know the intent, but no, I don't think.
Do you live in Newsom Hall?
I do.
Has there been any change in the atmosphere since the event?
Not recently, but when we first heard the news, everyone was really quiet about it and just a little different.
As far as next steps go, Tony Frank sent out a campus-wide email stating, CSUPD launched an investigation into this incident, but at this point doesn't have enough evidence or information to go forward.
Now here's Aaliyah Gorlick reporting live from Newsom Hall.
I'm here at Newsom Hall to talk about an event that occurred a couple of weeks ago. When Elijah Thomas first saw the news, he immediately thought to take a video and post it on social media. With social media being so closely tied to social movements these days, the video went viral, pushing administration to take actions further than just denouncing the act to the residence hall. Thomas recognizes that social media has an important impact on human rights issues, but sees that recognition of this act alone will not suffice, and that lack of action and organization will leave this social movement immobilized. Also, amidst recent uprisings of white supremacy across the nation, it's very important that we're talking about racism, why it's wrong, and making it less of a taboo subject. Thomas has a hard time believing that this will happen if acts like this continue to go unpunished. No further action is being taken at this point. Back to you at the studio.
Thank you, Aaliyah. A Colorado State University police officer is critically injured after being dragged by a vehicle around 2 a.m. this morning near Prospect Road and Whitcomb Street, according to a report from 9 News. The CSU officer was conducting a routine traffic stop on 21-year-old Dominic Charles Jackson when Jackson showed the officer a gun and attempted to flee the vehicle. According to the report, Jackson then dragged the officer by the vehicle for a short distance until the vehicle came to a stop, and Jackson was taken into custody. The officer's name has not yet been released. Both the officer and Jackson were transported to the hospital.
Businesses in Fort Collins still continue to help out the Houston area. One local animal shelter is doing what they can to support the feline community in the flooded city.
We are both a adoption guarantee limited admission cat shelter, and then also a spay and neuter and low-cost vaccine clinic for dogs and cats here at Fort Collins Cat Rescue and Spay Neuter Clinic.
The Fort Collins Cat Rescue and Spay and Neuter Clinic has been around since 2006. Every year, the clinic adopts out over 2,000 cats and kittens and spays and neuters over 6,000 dogs and cats.
Hello. You are enormous.
The clinic regularly partners with the Rescue Pets movement based out of Houston, who is in need of a little extra help since Hurricane Harvey.
They contacted us following Hurricane Harvey to see if we could take in some of their cats and kittens. And so they were trying to clear out their shelters so they could then take in the flood victims. And so what we're taking is some kitties that are already ready for adoption. They're arriving here Friday afternoon and will be available for adoption immediately.
The Fort Collins Cat Rescue will be receiving a total of 52 cats and kittens, 40 of which will go to foster homes upon arrival. The clinic will also be hosting a special event this weekend only.
We had a very generous sponsor agree to cover all the adoption fees for 3 days this weekend. September 8th, 9th, and 10th, Tour de Cat is what we're calling it, in which all adoption fees are going to be waived, and those Houston kitties are going to be arriving.
The Fort Collins Cat Rescue says they aren't done after this weekend. They plan on getting another arrival of cats from Houston in the upcoming week. For more information on fostering and adopting cats, the Fort Collins Cat Rescue and Spay and Neuter Clinic, you can visit www.fccrsnc.org.
What is up, Rams? My name is Ryan Christ, here to bring you the latest in entertainment news, so let's get started. Whether you like video games or not, we all know Mario, everyone's favorite princess-saving plumber. But apparently, Nintendo decided to take that fact and throw it out the window when they officially announced that Mario is no longer a plumber. His new bio reads he's all-around sporty, whether it's tennis or baseball, soccer or car racing, Mario, does everything cool. As a matter of fact, he has also seemed to have worked as a plumber a long time ago. The creator of the game, Shigeru Miyamoto, Mario was originally a carpenter, but when the 1983 Mario Bros. Came out, it fit more for him to be a plumber. So we made him fit his games. While to some of you, this means nothing, but to some of us, it means everything. You can't just change his occupation like that. I mean, what's next? Is Donkey Kong not a gorilla anymore? Is Princess Peach just some random girl who has some sporty guy come and save her? No, she needs a plumber to save her. I mean, that just makes sense. If you know me, I love movies. It's definitely one of my favorite pastimes. So with that being said, let's get into some great movie news. It has been announced that Gavin O'Connor will be the director/writer for DC's sequel to Suicide Squad. Now, if you haven't seen Suicide Squad, I can quickly fill you in. What I want you to do is close your eyes and picture a big pile of trash. All right, do you see it? Great, well now you've just seen Suicide Squad. Now, while I'm just kidding, Suicide Squad wasn't that bad. But a lot of fans, including myself, didn't really like it. It got a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes, which, to put in perspective, is a score so low that Adam Sandler's movie Click, that had half the budget than Suicide Squad, got a 32%. Now, while the facts point to this being a pretty bad movie, I still have faith that this kind of cool concept of a movie could be good, and hopefully Gavin can turn this crappier version of Vendors into something great. And if not, let's at least shoot to be better than Click by Adam Sandler. I mean, come on, it's Click. In some Fort Collins news, it was a great day to be outside on Tuesday, and anyone who went to City Park got just that.
At City Park on Tuesday, everyone got to hang out, take a break, and enjoy some of our last summer evenings with the Food Trucks Alliance weekly truck rally. At this rally, trucks were bumper to bumper while serving all kinds of foods. They even had a band playing at the center of the event. I spoke to longtime comer Stevie Shocks, who told me why she comes to this event.
I came here for good music and great weather and just hang out, relax, take a break from studying, you know. It's a great time. I recommend everybody coming to the food truck rally in Fort Collins. It's so fun. There's so many cool people. Everybody's super nice. And the food is always delicious.
I spoke to Menominon's employee, Zach Morris, who told me more about what this event means to him.
This food truck rally is really interesting because it's sort of a part of a bigger picture. It's a part of the Fort Collins Food Truck Alliance. So it feels sort of more like a community than some of the other food truck rallies I've seen. Specifically in Denver, I think a lot of them are like a hodgepodge of a lot of different people from a lot of different places, but this is really a community of food truckers that all know each other.
I'm Ryan Christ, CTV News.
The Food Truck Alliance will be there every Tuesday and Thursday until the end of September, and I know I'm not going to miss out. With Game of Thrones Season 7 just ending, we got to see more of everyone's favorite Game of Thrones granny. In case you didn't know, for the past 4 Dragon Cons, an 87-year-old woman dresses up as Lady Onella and sits in her Iron Throw wheelchair, and every time she steals the show, as she held up a sign that says, "It was me." After going to these events for years, she became the top post on Reddit and got multiple articles written about her without her even knowing, until her granddaughter finally showed her. Game of Thrones Granny said that I don't deserve all this face they're giving me, but I love it. She then added some advice for some of the older cosplays and said that, go to it, gang, while you got nothing to lose. While we have a long time before our next Dragon Con, I can't wait to see our favorite Granny back on her Iron Throne. In some other news, a cafe in LA is apparently serving lattes with Ryan Gosling's face on them. The cafe posted on Instagram, "Come and try our latest ripple with Ryan Gosling." You can get just a picture of Ryan, or you can get one of his famous "Hey Girl" quotes like, "Hey girl, I love it when you wear yoga pants all day." This cafe does this by using a ripple maker that can literally print any image onto the foam layer. And these pictures in the foam are actually pretty clear and precise. Hopefully a cafe here in Fort Collins will get one soon so we can all try this out.